This was especially.
Once again, Mr. Stevens, you have managed to, pardon the expression, barely stay within the bounds.
Redneck.
Well, the boys around here don't listen to the Beatles run. Old Bo Cephas threw a jukebox needle at the honky-tonk where they boot stomp all night. What? That's right. Yeah, and what they call work a digging in the dirt. Gotta get it in the ground before the rain come down to get paid to get your girl and your four-wheel drive. Yeah, the boys around here drinking that ice-cold beer, talking about girls, talking about trucks, running them red dirt roads out, kicking up dust. The boys around here sending up a prayer to the man upstairs. Backwoods legit, don't take no lip. Chew tobacco, chew tobacco, chew tobacco, spit. Oh, heck. Well, the boys around here, they're keeping it country. Ain't a damn one know how to do the Dougie. No, I'm not in Kentucky, but these girls around here, yep, they still love me. Yeah, the girls around here, they all deserve a whistle. Shaking that sugar sweet as Dixie Crystal. They like that yawling southern drawl and just can't help it 'cause they just keep falling for the boys around here. Drinking that ice-cold beer, talking about girls, talking about trucks, running them red dirt roads out, kicking up dust. The boys around here sending up a prayer to the man upstairs. Backwoods legit, don't take no lip. Chew tobacco, chew tobacco, chew tobacco, spit.
Let's ride through the countryside. Let's ride down to the riverside.
Hey now, girl, hop inside. It's me and you gonna take a little ride to the river. Let's ride. That's right. Lay a blanket on the ground. Kissing in the crickets is the only sound. We out of town. Have you ever got down with a do you wanna get down with a girl, you gotta get down with the boys around here, drinking that ice-cold beer, talking about girls, talking about trucks, running them red dirt roads out, kicking up dust. The boys around here, sending up a prayer to the man upstairs. Backwoods legit, don't take no lip. Chew tobacco, chew tobacco, chew tobacco. I'm one of them boys around here, drinking that ice-cold beer, talking about girls, talking about trucks, running them red dirt roads out, kicking up dust. The boys around here, sending up a prayer to the man upstairs. Backwoods legit, don't take no lip. Chew tobacco, chew tobacco, chew tobacco.
And that little old band in Texas says, how. Welcome to the WINGIT Call, October 7th, 2016. Here we are one more day, or one more call. Take a knee, please. And Pastor, this is for you. You have taught me well. Lord Jesus, please protect us and guide us. Thank you for all the people that are listening. Give them guidance in all that they do and the protection that goes with it. We ask this in Jesus Christ's name. Amen. So it's kind of a Q&A day today, so *2 to raise your hand. Oh, disclaimer, we're not attorneys, CPAs, financial advisors. This is our opinion. None of this is to be considered any form of legal advice. Please seek legal advice, and for the rest of the disclaimer, please go to the wingitcall.com, and there is a disclaimer tab. Click on there, and you'll get the rest of the disclaimer. Thank you. Somebody is unmuted. There we go. We got that. Going to unmute Wingman here. Art Meister, come on down.
All righty. Good afternoon, Jerry. Good afternoon to all those in currency land. Hope you're having a great day. All we're waiting for is numbers. We know that. We thought for sure last night they were coming out, but did not. The only other two things, I got a couple texts here a little bit ago. One said a friend, I'll just read it, no names involved here. A friend in Dallas just called her friend in Washington, who called last night and has a friend high up in Wells Fargo, told him for years they knew nothing about the RV. Last night, the guy changed his mind. He said, yes, we're going to be taking part in the exchanging starting Monday morning. Monday morning. How about that? I got one more here.
Art, you kind of cut out there. Could you say that again?
Yes, I can. I'm sorry about that. And I got my phone a little closer here. Hold on a second. Come on here, move.
No, I think it might be the conference call. It just cut out for a minute. If you'll repeat that, please.
Yeah. This text was sent to me from one of our Denarian friends. Says, my friend in Dallas just called her friend in D.C. and called her last night. His friend was high up in Wells Fargo, had been saying for years they knew nothing about the RV. Called him last night and said, well, we are going to be taking part after all, and we'll start exchanging Monday morning. So that's interesting. And one other thing is, another one came from one of our Denarian friends, said that the big O of D.C. and the big H that's running for Mrs. President robbed trillions of the new gold back 3 days ago. So my banker told me 2 days ago that the new gold back will be coming out faster. Now, hopefully within 2 weeks. So I don't know how they robbed 2 trillion of it, but a few trillions, but I guess they need it for campaigns. I don't know. What a mess.
Yeah,
what a mess the country's in. Anyway, I'll end with that because that's all I got anyway, and that just came in a little bit ago. So
thanks, Art. If you'll mute yourself.
I will.
Wingman.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Anything you want to say before we start the Q&A?
Well, yeah. Bunch of stuff I want to say. I finally figured out what.
I did say, and we concurred that today, if we weren't in the banks, it would give a new timeline. But since I made that statement, a few things have happened.
That's true.
So kind of like that video came out by Obama about the Paris Treaty being ratified and going forward and blah, blah, blah. That was a nice little piece of intel. All right, go ahead.
Yes, it was. Yeah, no, I just realized last night. I finally got why. Why people listen to the calls that are constantly promising the date where it's going to happen during our call, etc. It's like going to the casino. You know the house is going to win at any casino. Everybody knows that, but still you go to gamble because gambling's fun. And there's always that one chance in a million that you're going to hit the jackpot, or somehow, you're gonna beat the odds at the roulette table or something like that. It's that hope, and it's the excitement that comes from it. That's the draw. And smart people who go to casinos, they only bring X amount of dollars, and when they're done with whatever they decided they could afford to lose, that's it. They go home. Now, some people get into a bad habit and get into trouble. But I realize it's the same thing with calls. It's like when Joseph puts out that it could very well go down on Bruce's call. That's the same as a casino operator. It's all the mirrors, it's all the fancy lights, it's all the cocktail waitresses and the Cirque du Soleil shows and all that. It's the same dynamic, and people want that. it's fun. It's like going to a violent movie or going to a like one of the Fast and Furious movies. It's just one big adrenaline rush, and people crave the adrenaline rush. They crave the roller coaster. So, looking at it in that way, it's like, well, what's the harm? Really, what's the harm? The problem is, of course, is that just like the casinos, most people can control their gambling, but some people can't, and they get in trouble. And it's a shame that happens. But we are all adults, so if we want to go on that roller coaster ride every week or every other day, or listen to these guys spout their rates and their dates and all that, well, it's as my full partner used to say, it's your America too. Anyway, that's my comment on the latest sit reps, which I would insert an H in sit rep, because that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's what they are. But the thing I wanted to talk about a little bit, maybe get a discussion going, is what we're all going to be doing post RV and what it means to have this wealth. I know we've touched on it before, and we've all got humanitarian projects we want to do. We got things like that, but the whole idea about having this kind of money and managing it is new to 99.9% of us. And there's a lot of things to consider that you'll start hearing about post-RV. But it's good to know about them up front so that you can have an ear for it when it does come up. And it's things like, opening foreign bank accounts, which is an asset protection move. And owning gold and the storage of gold. And that, again, that's another asset protection move. It's not so much about being paranoid about the banks taking your money, but it's more that as each subsequent administration comes into power, regardless of whether it's Republican or Democrat, it doesn't matter. It's the U.S. political system. That system's always going to want to protect itself. And because there's so many checks and balances and so many varied personalities in it, you never know what you're going to get with a certain administration. Your taxes might go up, or your regulations on how much money you can have outside the country might change. And one of the things that Jerry and I have been looking into specifically is dual citizenship. That protects you in a myriad of ways. Number one, if you got two passports, you never be stuck. If for some reason the government decided to freeze all international travel, just for whatever reason, you've still got another passport you can leave the country on. When you have dual citizenship, you can go into foreign banks who don't want to deal with Americans because of the IRS, because of how intrusive they are. You can open up bank accounts as a different, under a different passport, under a different citizenship. Things like that. There's things like opening up a foreign limited liability company. You go over to Switzerland now, unless you got $50 or $100 million you want to give them, they don't want to touch you as an American individual. They just don't want to deal with the IRS. They don't want to deal with all the regulations. But if you go over as the owner or a partner in a foreign limited liability company, they'll welcome you with open arms because they no longer have to report and obey all of the IRS individual investment laws. So there's all kinds of things like that we're going to have access to and be told about, and be aware of them. It's all about asset protection now. In a litigious society, like, I can't even say that word right, like ours, where you can get sued for anything. If you've got money, any decent attorney these days can figure out a thing to sue you over. I'm telling you, from personal experience, having a successful company, it wasn't until we got successful that we started getting sued. I mean, it was the oddest thing. We were doing a better job overall and with more satisfied customers, and yet all of a sudden we're getting sued for these stupid little things. And I realized it's because we suddenly had a bank account. We suddenly had assets to come after. And we're going to have lots of assets to come after. So we really got to pay attention to that stuff and set it up early. When when you're setting up your trust, when you're setting up your accounts, when you're setting up everything that you've got to set up with this kind of money, you've got to take all of this into consideration and do it right from the get-go. So that's, it's important stuff to know about. So when you hear about these seminars, investment seminars, specifically around asset protection, go take them. Spend the money, spend the time, go take them and get as much information as you can so you can set up a balanced portfolio and a protected estate, and also protecting your loved ones down the line, and having them start to learn early about managing the money that they're going to be coming in. Lots of things like that. And again, that's just a general overview, but it's really something that we need to look at and pay attention to, and I hope everybody does when time comes. So that's it. That's what I got to say today.
All righty. Well, and I'll just say this real quick. There's a video out there on the internet making the rounds. It's got everybody's.
Oh, yes, we have
got everybody's panties in a wad. Don't listen to it. Right off the bat, when it starts off with, "Hi, my name is Nick Giamoreno," he's over on Dinar Daily. That right there. And then some lady called My Lady or My Ladies. Stop right there. Just stop right there. That is big red flags. That's all I got to say about that. Auburn, come on down.
You just ruined my
Hello?
conversation. Really, Jerry?
Okay, well, go ahead. What do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about that lady for just a second. Just
okay,
a second,
go ahead.
because you guys have to understand this has been going on a long time. And I can't believe this one lady comes in and she's trying to shoot everybody down. I mean, some people have been in this, 11 to 14 years? And people are listening to this lady. She's been on 2 conferences in the last 24 hours. So why she would be doing this, I don't know. But I'm just saying, stay firm on this. I watched the video and just about fell asleep. Nick, Dominic, whatever you want to call yourself today. But I would say shut it down. So that was very crazy. And after I've done all my research, I'll tell you, I don't know what this lady is smoking. So, but I just wanted to give everybody a heads up.
It's some good stuff, and she's going to share. But, the thing to think about is, what is her motive? What's her motive?
Right, and that's the question there, because if you listen to all of it and you do your research, ask yourself how much these people, these powers that be or whoever, how much info do they really want out there publicly? And if everything was public, would this be a quiet RV where there's just a few million people, or would this be open for everybody? We have to ask ourselves that. She's trying to portray herself as someone that gets the facts, but these facts aren't going to be public right now, and we have to know that. So, I mean, that's a big thing that I just wanted to come in and say, because this is so misleading. Shame on you people that do this. The hopium is just unreal, So we're hearing it called again for this weekend. I mean, they'll do it when they want to do it, and nobody knows the date or the rate. I mean, that's where I'm at. So, sorry, Jerry, but I had to say it.
If you're saying you're calling BS on them, absolutely.
Yes. All right.
All right. Thank you.
You guys have a good day. Thanks.
Okay.
So, there's got to be some philosophy or idea out there that if they keep Dinar Land, the people who know about it, if they keep that group off balance, that somehow works for them. I still can't quite figure out how it works for them. But that's the only reason we get all this conflicting information. It keeps the community, the DNR community, keeps us divided into different camps. There's people who think it's all BS. There's people who think some of it's BS. There's people who take it hook, line, and sinker. And the only result that I consistently see is that, you know, it keeps this topic up there about what's real and what isn't. And with that topic always in the forefront, people either maybe they're thinking it keeps the overall DNR land population from going crazy and just buying tons and tons and tons of currency. Maybe that's what it's about. If you keep that little bit of doubt in there, you know, somebody's gonna say, well, you know, I got an extra $300 this week. Do I what? Do I buy a 10-speed bicycle or do I invest it in DNR? Well, you know, maybe I got enough DNR, you know, it's kind of risky. So I'll do something else with that $300. Maybe that's what the reasoning is behind it. I don't know, you know. But it's certainly fascinating that it constantly comes up. And whenever we get real close, like we are now, they come out of the woodwork with these incredible negative predictions. You know, and it's not going to happen until next March. You know, it's not going to happen until December 4th when Italy leaves the euro. You know, it's like, I mean, you name it. I mean, Mountain Goat was famous for this. Whenever things got close, the conglomerate that is or was Mountain Goat would come out with these very logical new timelines, you know, and stretch it out another 90 days or another 6 months or something.
Well, let's take another call.
Okay, fine.
Weatherford, last four of your phone numbers, 2790. Come on down.
Good afternoon, Jerry.
Howdy.
Hi. I have a question about when after we exchange, would it be better for us to put the funds, if we don't have a trust, would it be better for us to go with the bank trust that you've been telling us about, or would it be better to go with a non-interest-bearing account? And question about that, if we have it in a non-bearing interest account, will we be taxed or something different if we transfer it then into a trust fund like weeks later?
I would not leave the bank with anything in your name. So if they have an offer for some type of trust vehicle, I would make the best of it till you can get, you know, the trust that you want.
And there wouldn't be a penalty for changing from their trust to my trust that I get?
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't think so.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
You're welcome. Cannon City. Come on down.
Hi, Jerry. Hi, Eichel.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
How you doing?
Okay, my
Turn your
question
speakers down.
Okay, I'm on the radio here. My question has to do with the 3 zeros. Now, they've stated that they were going to knock off 3 zeros. Does that mean knocking it off the decimal point side or off the actual currency side, like the Zim, say they're going to knock off 6 zeros? What's to prevent them from knocking 3 zeros off our 25K and saying you got 10 days to redeem it?
I don't believe they're going to do that. That's going to be an in-country only. Everything outside of country, because so many governments hold the 25K notes in their vaults as a currency, and it's going to come out asset-backed. Turn your radio down some more.
Okay.
And
Wingman, if you want to address that also, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, it's see, there was a lot of confusion created about lopping the 6 zeros off the Zim, and then maybe lopping 3 zeros off the $1 billion notes, et cetera. And And people have gotten it mixed up with the currency that we hold, the actual currency. So you figure dong is a currency, dinar is a currency, rupiah, etc. Those are currencies. They are what they are. Now, maybe post-RV, what Iraq wants to do, or what Vietnam wants to do, is take zeros off their in-country currency to start basically getting those notes out of circulation, and as a stopgap measure, saying, well, if you're holding a $1 million dong note, it's only worth 100,000 dong. Just as a way to get them out of circulation. That may be a tactic that's going on, but we don't have to worry about that. We've got it's legal tender, and it's going to be revalued in an asset-backed. What's the word I'm looking for? In an asset, it's asset-backed. It's a currency that's asset-backed. So don't get confused by it and don't overthink it. Again, that's a combination of misinformation that's out there, and it's also just confusion that gets constantly recirculated as people focus in on it. $25,000 dinar note is a $25,000 dinar note, period. I hope that helps. It's something we don't think about or worry about.
Yeah, it helps. I certainly believe that. I hope that's so. But I didn't know if there was any kind of international law that tells us that they can't do that, or is it just hearsay that they can't do that?
Well, if you really extend it out, let's not get into too much detail, but just you think about, for example, just with Iraq, oil, okay? Internationally now I'm talking about. You can't make oil deals when you don't know what they're going to do with the currency. You can't make an oil deal today based on dinar and then 2 weeks from now have Iraq say, well, you know what, we decided we're going to knock 2 zeros off of our 25,000. So all that oil that you thought you bought for X amount of money, well, it's really going to cost you Y amount of money. That's not going to happen. I know we're as quote unquote little people or regular folks. That's probably a better term for it. We're used to getting screwed over by large financial transactions on the international stage. But you always got to look at this stuff. Does it make good business sense? And we're talking international business here. And at an international level, you don't mess around with things like that. I mean, somebody's going to come up and bomb you or kill you. It's a lot. It's more stable right now than we are probably being led to believe, because instability creates uncertainty. Uncertainty creates fear. We're in an election cycle, so a lot of the stuff's out there just being used by both sides. Not taking sides here. Both sides are using the fear factor big time in this election to try to get your vote.
Yep.
So,
well, he hung himself up. I don't know what happened there.
Okay.
So let's
probably went on too long.
Let's. Oh, he's back there.
Okay.
Yeah, he just showed. Anyway, home of West Point, come on down.
Happy Friday, gentlemen. How are you guys?
Good.
I am so glad that you understand where I'm talking about.
That's right. Get your blue moon in hand and just relax for the weekend. My two things, I'm not sure. I know you guys mentioned the Paris agreements. I've been looking through this and trying to decipher, are there any underlining aspects that are, for someone like myself, that it's not apparent that they're necessarily talking about reforms and GCRs or anything, but I know that they were approved. Am I missing something there?
Well, they don't have the gold treaty paperwork in there. That's hidden. Kind of like there's paperwork on that Iran deal that's just now coming out a year later. about the agreements that were made.
I see.
So what you're looking for is not available to the sheeple eyes. Does that make sense?
It surely does, and I appreciate you explaining that. One other thing, and should we as, denarians and hold this currency, should we be concerned about what's going on with all the hoopla in the media about all the major banks that are in the United States, from Wells to B of A? There's been a lot of talk about how they're declaring that we're getting ready to have a recession, which we all pretty much know that's why this GCR needs to happen. But should we be more concerned about that?
Nope.
Yes.
Because you're
Get
out of there. Get out of there. That's not yours. No, you shouldn't be. There's no need to be concerned about it for one reason. You're on the right side because you hold currency. When this goes down, you're going to be able to protect yourself. People that have funds the bank listen to. So just for instance, how are you treated now when you go in to do a checking account and things like that? Your time of walking into a local branch, unless you choose to, is over. You're going to be going places you're going, wow, they got a place like this, and I didn't even know about it. And hell, it's right. It's just 2 doors down from the main branch. Why didn't there say anything about this? So think about that.
I will. Gentlemen, you have a great weekend. Thank you guys for everything, and let's bring this thing in the right way.
Show me the
money.
I
do have something to add about the Paris Accord. If you think of the Paris Accord as, let's say it's your first year of law school, okay? And somehow you wind up in a 3rd year law school course. Now, everybody in that room, except you, has had 2 years of reading and studying and practicing various aspects of the law, and it's in their makeup now. They got that in their heads. They don't need a guide or an outline or anything. It's there, and they start talking about some advanced test case. You're not going to know what you're going to catch on to some of what they're talking about. There's going to be a lot of assumptions in the conversation that they all know already that you do not know. And the Paris Accord is the same thing. If you read the Paris Accord as if it is an agreement among 200 nations that have already agreed to a whole lot of background documents and know about a lot of background information like the GCR. If you read the Paris Accord from that perspective, then things start to pop out. References to empowering emerging nations and financing and timelines and all kinds of language in the Paris Accord it's written with the assumption that the people who are agreeing to this accord already know all this background. And I think if you go look at the Paris Accord and you're looking for a declarative sentence that says we can do this because the GCR is now in place. No, you're not going to find that sentence anywhere. But if you read the whole thing, it's clear to the people who made that agreement and signed that agreement that the GCR is in place, or so close that when they affect the Paris Accord, it will be in place. I hope that helps. That's what I've been getting from my readings. It's like they know a lot that we don't know as background to that document. But if you know enough, you can read that document with a different mindset.
Okay, hold on just a second. So I want to say this.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about, boy, but we'll just move on.
No, I was texting. I did. Okay. Now this is from Boots on the Ground.
Mm-hmm.
How can I put this? I explained this to Iko, and we both went, that'll work.
Yeah, we know of a commercial venture in Iraq that just got all of its legal paperwork recognized and approved, and that the funds will be in their bank account within X number of time units, without saying what the time units are.
No, I'll say it. It's supposed to be in their account Monday.
Okay, you said it.
It's a commercial adventure.
Yes. No, venture. Not ad. Well, it's an adventure too, but it's a venture.
It is a commercial adventure.
Yes.
So
I guess anything in Iraq right now is an adventure.
Absolutely. I'm speaking in code, but I'm trying to be as plain as possible. And I've also heard that I think somebody on Bruce's call said that Monday was a good timeline. Well, my boots on the ground are saying that they're going to have money in their account come Monday. So that could possibly mean like Sunday night our time. Woo-hoo. So, and I forgot about something else. People have been asking, and I finally got it hooked up. On the home page of the wingitcall.com is a click link so you can go to Boss Lady and Soil Dude's website. That's exactly what it says. Boss Lady and Soil Dude website. Just click this. Blue box, click on it, takes you to their website. I finally got that together. All right, let's see. Next caller. North Bend, come on down.
Hi there. Boy, was I looking for a breath of fresh air from you guys today, because my first question was going to be about the My Ladies call last night. I've been in this for 11 years, and over the years, in the beginning, I listened to everything I could get, or read everything I could get my eyes on, and have kind of whittled that down over the years. When I listened to that call last night, much of what they said, I thought, yeah, okay, that's true. But it was just a little bit off, and it was off enough to make it sound like a truth, and it wasn't a truth. However, I have to say that they tipped me over big time when the gal said to somebody who called in that the Zim was not a viable currency, and I had researched that. Every single thing that she said in terms of what I had read was correct. But there was one element, and I take a lot of notes when I'm listening and reading, and I'll tell you what, she knocked me right out of the ballpark when she said the Zim was not a viable currency. I'm going to choose to believe that it is. And I would sure love another shot in the arm as far as positive thinking about that. Can you help me out?
Hell in a handbasket.
Again?
Hell in a handbasket. I said hell in a handbasket. That's exactly where they want to lead everybody, because they've got their hand on the rudder. Well, I'm here to tell you that right now Zimbabwe doesn't have their own currency. They're using the British pound, the dollar, and the Chinese yuan.
And I know
now they're coming out with their own, and they're coming out with their own currency. But what we hold is still valuable.
Okay, well, that's what I kept telling myself all night, even at 2 o'clock this morning. And when I turn over and think about it, and I'm thinking, all of this stuff, and yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's one of those half truths that they put out to manipulate everyone. It's an absolute true statement. The Zim is not a viable currency, but it's not a currency. It's not supposed to be a currency. It's the equivalent of a bearer bond.
And it was a bond. She really, made everybody feel like an idiot.
And that's the unfortunate thing for all of us, because we're not professionals, and we haven't been in this for decades, and we don't know everything about international finance. But now we know enough. It's it's too bad. It's almost criminal what these people are doing.
Yeah,
No.
that's her charming ways. Bless her heart.
Yep.
Just
Yeah,
ignore
we
her.
can't do anything about
Anytime that you hear the words Nick or my ladies, I know it's like a train crash. You can't look away, but they're misleading.
Yeah, right.
So my question to
That's a good
both of
analogy.
them are: do you hold dinar? Do you hold any foreign currency? If all this is a scam, then why are you busting our chops? Unless you're holding yourself. A question that needs to be asked to them. If they say yes, then why are you so down on everybody? Because if you've got skin in the game,
which she said she did. She said she did not.
Okay, so
But
there you go. They're all right. Sorry, I'm sorry.
She said that she did own dinars. She did not have Zim, and that this thing was going to move into 2017 sometime. And just read Dr. Shabibi's treatise on the plan. I have the plan, read it, reviewed it, and it doesn't say anything about 2017. So
Of course not. It's okay. So they've got skin in the game. Why are they both saying that the dinar is a scam?
didn't
That's
say that it
confusing.
was a scam. It did not. Just said that they were tired of the hopium of every single night it being announced, but that nobody should think that this was going to happen this year in 2016, and that it was going to move into sometime somewhere in 2017.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for clarifying that for me. I appreciate it.
So let me see here. What do we got? Rodeo Drive. Oh, come on. Rodeo Drive, come on down.
Hello, how you doing? I am
Good.
really tired of these people, and I'm talking everybody in currency land. You all decided to do this. Assume your responsibilities. Anybody that's out there that's, bad-mouthing it or whatever, they have ulterior motives. If you've never invested before, realize the closer you get, the more oily the snakes are going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
Use a little tolerance and don't get greedy. Just understand that these people don't always have their head on top of their bodies. It's in a different position.
Are you trying to say that it could be reversed?
You know something? Yeah, I am. This is like a chance of a lifetime, people. And if you're meant to be there and you're meant to do that, then it's going to happen for you.
Oh, I want to say this. Hold
Yes,
on just a second. I heard Nick say that Kuwait never revalued. He is absolutely correct. Absolutely. It didn't revalue. It was a reinstatement of their new currency to pre-invasion rates. So that's the little part that he left out. Now we know that people, I know one person, I was fortunate enough to meet this person that was actually involved in that. He goes, yeah, people call it an RV, but it wasn't. Let me explain it to you. And he did. And people over there were smart enough to buy the new currency that Kuwait had printed. So absolutely, Nick, you are correct. But please finish the whole story. It was a reinstatement where it had the picture of the emir, I think, on there, and not Saddam, that he was flooding their country with his money and that was taken care of. So kudos to you, Nick, but also shame on you for not telling the whole story. A half-truth. Shame on you.
A half-truth might as well be a whole lie.
Yeah, well, I leave that for other people. I'll leave that for other people to figure that out. I've stated my case, and anyway, thank you, ma'am.
Well, anyway, I just had to get a little something off my chest, you know. So there you go, guys. We're going to have a great weekend and wonderful lives.
Yep. You know,
God bless everybody.
Too,
you too.
Something else too that dawned on me the other day is that a lot of people, really, the DNR community really took off when Tony and DC did their call. They really opened it up to a large audience, and a lot of people are still operating with the do's and don'ts and the rules and regulations and the probability that Tony and DC put out 3 years ago. They're using that, and they're still trying to stuff all the latest information into that old box. And it's kind of like, for folks who went to college know this. You go to college, and let's say you want to, anything. You want to be an engineer. So you go to college and you learn engineering and you get a degree in engineering, and then you go to work for an engineering firm. And the first thing you find out is everything you learned in college, throw it out the window, because that's not how it works in real life.
Yeah, you went from being a smart student to an idiot.
Right, exactly. And if you can use that history and that let's call it book knowledge for in this analogy, but now you're in the real world. This is the real dinar world happening before our eyes in the way it was always supposed to happen, not in the way Tony and DC imagined it, or the people that were handling them wanted us to imagine it. But in its reality now, it's complex, it's multinational, it's full of twists and turns. It's got both good people and bad people operating on the exact same moment. All of that. We really got to look at it in real time, and you've got to stay open to seeing it in real time. I think a lot of like, for example, my ladies, perfect example. They're trying to shove this thing into a particular box with a particular group of players, and it's not that at all. The real players in this thing are vastly interwoven. And I can't go too much further than that because it's no fly zone. But it ain't about Iraq. It ain't about the U.S. It ain't about the Arabs. It's not just about the Chinese. It's everybody. Everybody is involved in this thing. So it's tough to sort out. And we're going along for the ride, and we're lucky to be here.
Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. Hometown favorite, Home Sasa, right next to Wacky Weed.
Hi, Jerry. Hey,
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Was the signing of the Paris Treaty a prerequisite for the RV?
It seems like it now. We didn't realize back then, but it sure does seem like it now.
Well, are there any other loose ends out there floating around like this is?
Don't know.
You don't
know? I wouldn't call it a prerequisite for the RV. It was one of the things that the RV made possible. Actually, the GCR is making possible. The Paris Accord couldn't happen without the GCR. I don't think it was a prerequisite. I think it was the result. One of the desired results, one of the things that's been planned for a long time, and it could finally come together, was the Paris Accord. And
maybe you could call it a necessity then.
Yeah. And also, but what it seems to have done is it does seem to have become the formal announcement. As vague as it is, and as convoluted as it is, there had to be this formal announcement that this thing was in play. We never found anything that says in explicit, plain language the form in which the GCR was to be announced. Only that it be announced. There's nothing that says you have to call it the global currency revaluation. There's nothing that says you have to call it the GCR. There's nothing that says you have to call the RV the RV. Those are the terms that have come out that people use as shorthand. But all of that language was, as they like to say, vague enough to be binding. And so it satisfied a legal requirement and an announcement to the world that the coming together or the leveling of asset-backed economies has begun. You can come up with a whole other three-letter acronym for it.
Do you know of any other thing floating around out there that's as innocuous as this is?
Nope.
So maybe we're getting closer, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
All righty. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Jerry.
So now here we go on the lightning round. One question, short to the point, with a short, quick answer. Heiko.
Okay.
Pittsburgh. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I like Pittsburgh or not. Do we like Pittsburgh?
Well, Pittsburgh's a really cool town.
It's a home of the Steelers, and that's a direct.
Yeah. No, it's one of those industrial northeast cities that picks itself up by its bootstraps.
Yeah, but they got that rascal Ben Roethlisberger. I don't know if I like him or not. Pittsburgh, come on down.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Welcome to Redneck Radio.
Great. Thanks. Pleasure to be here today. Hey, not so much a question as a comment. Been here for 6 years, and yes, Pittsburgh is an awesome city. I've been in this for 6 years, and my perspective on it has kind of changed over time as I've gotten a little seasoned and wizened. And I think that number one, people forget that first and foremost, this is a speculation. It's not an investment. It's a very speculative venture that we've all gotten involved in. And generally, if somebody makes a statement that something has to happen by such and such a date, you should pretty much disregard everything that comes out of their mouth after that point. All right? There's absolutely no control over when this thing is going to go down. There are no have-tos in this situation. We have been through so many windows and deadlines and all kinds of other things throughout this time period that if you've learned nothing else from this venture is that there is no deadline, okay? It does not have to happen by any particular date. It's going to happen whenever it's going to happen, okay? We can take into consideration what is going on and sort of watch this thing play out. But the bottom line is we're just making assumptions based on the information that we have, because none of us are integrally involved in this situation. We're basically on the sidelines taking pieces of information and trying to put the thing together, all right? And but again, the problem is that we don't have a lot of objectivity because most people are so emotionally engaged in this process and they want this more than anything they've ever wanted in their lives that they're willing to sort of suspend belief and buy into pretty much anything that comes down the pike that has any glimmer of it fulfilling what they want to happen out of this situation. And so anybody who comes along that's got a good story or who makes some statement or backs it up because, maybe God told them or they've got a friend in the bank or whatever it is, people are pretty much willing to throw everything into that and believe it hook, line, and sinker. And I think the other thing that's important to understand about the banks is the banks in some ways are pretty much almost in the exact same situation that we are, because they are reactive to this whole thing as well. They're not, part of the decision-making process in this. They're pretty much waiting to get the same thing if and when this is going to happen, okay? So even when people say, well, I have an inside connection at the bank and the bank said this, well, that's maybe because they got a piece of information, but there's no guarantee that that information is any more valid than any other piece of information that comes across the Internet as well, because the banks are waiting on this just like we are, And so we have to kind of keep that in mind as well, too. And you're exactly right about, we need to ask the question when someone does make a statement or they come out and make a stance, what's the question behind the question? What is it that what are they gaining out of this? Are they getting their 15 minutes of fame, or are they, trying to, either get people to be disinterested in this whole thing, or, what is it that's really behind that whole situation? Because the bottom line to this point, it doesn't matter what camp you're in, whether you're in the GCR camp or whether you're in it's all about Iraq camp, nobody's been right up until this date, So I think we just all need to kind of just keep perspective.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Good points. Yeah.
Oh, and I put out a cryptic tweet yesterday, and I'd like to give clarification on that. Private calls aren't so private, because by the time they're over with, within 5 to 10 minutes, I get a full report about what's been going on. A full report of all the things that are said. A little synopsis. I just want to let you know about that. So nothing is private. Look at this scoundrel. Oh, wait. First off, Orlando. Are you dry and are you high?
Yeah, I'm good. We're good. We're good. Just lost a little power this morning for about 2 hours. That was about it where we were at. So we got unscathed.
Good. So it was far enough offshore that you just got a few high winds. You went out there.
Yeah, if you were on the east side, you got nailed. If you listen to what they said, there was no tolls at all yesterday. So if you didn't get out when they said to, you're pretty much screwed, because everybody was coming from east to west. So, because traffic was bad on the eastbound side of I-4, or westbound side of I-4. It was real bad, but there was nothing on the eastbound side.
And the winds weren't that bad, were they?
No, not too bad. Not where we were at. I'd probably say about maybe 45, 50 max where I'm at. I'm not going to give my location, but where I'm at, about 45, 50 mile an hour winds. Limbs got knocked off, and like I said, we lost power for about 2 hours. That was about it.
You went out and
did
you fly your kite?
It could have been worse.
If it worked well?
Huh?
But you went out there kite flying, didn't you?
I thought I was going to. I thought I was going to go skydive with my car there for a little bit. No, I'm just kidding.
All right. So give us your question.
I just want to get to the point real quick. Believe it or not, people are not even supposed to know about this. I was in Iraq in 2003. They didn't want this stuff even leaving in 2003. So that tells you how long I've been in it. Fact number 2 is that people need to understand that it wasn't under the Clinton administration that Iraq or Kuwait reinstated. It was in 1991, and it was President Bush. It didn't happen in 92, 1991. March 24th or 25th, 1991. That tells you who's probably pulling a lot of the strings.
Just the next day after they said the Emir of Kuwait is dead, and the next day, pow.
Yes, sir.
He's alive,
yes,
and it reinstated.
And another thing, there was no power, no water in Kuwait. No power, no water, no nothing, but the banks were open. And look what's happening down here in Florida. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, sir.
You're
It's that darned insurance salesman again, Iko.
Well, man.
Do we want to? Oh, I know it. Do we want to talk to him?
Sure. He always has good stuff to say.
Oh, no, that's Hanford, not Hartford. Hanford, California. My bad. I need to put my glasses on.
Oh.
Hanford, California.
No, sir, I do not sell insurance.
My
Hello,
bad.
dear.
I put my.
Yes,
How you
sir, it is. As the saying goes, as I was taught, bless your little old pea-picking heart. I need some clarification, please, on this non-disclosure that I've read about and that I've listened to. Is it true that if you sign one of these, that you will get the higher rates, number one? And number two, I read something that was very interesting and would definitely happen. It just seems like it's very easy to make one little mistake and they have it all. You lose it, everything. Can you help me with this?
We haven't seen any documents that you're talking about, but I've heard that if you take the high sovereign rate, there's going to be a lot of control. Even though it's yours, there's going to be a lot of control that the bank wants over that. Me personally, I'm going to take either the international or the market rate, and I'll still be well off, not a problem, and there'll be no control, and I can make money with what I have over the next 5 or 10 years to make up what I would have got the first time around with the high sovereign rate. It's a win-win situation for the bank. If they're going to get X amount for it, and anything that if they give you a low price, they get to keep the difference. Bless their hearts, but they have no control. Now, if they say, well, sir, we'd like to give you a little bit better rate. Okay, I'm listening. And if it comes with an NDA and some of their fingers in the pie, say 10 or 15% worth, I can live with that. But anything over that, absolutely not. But that's just me. Not everybody's going to do what I'm going to do.
I feel the same way. I don't like that control issue at all. But I needed some clarification because they're pushing for it. It's been pushed for on, being written, and some people have said. And I just thought, I'm not so sure about this.
All right,
little
ma'am.
mistake, and
Thank you.
then they just get your money, and I'm just I have to.
I understand. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a good day.
Hot Atlanta, come on down.
Hi, Jerry.
Yes,
Hello.
ma'am.
Oh, my question's really been answered. The lady that was talking about the Zimbabwe issue, I'm clear on that now. And also the lady, I was curious about who she was talking about when she was talking about the lady on the Internet, because I haven't heard of her or anything, but somebody else came in and said her name was My Ladies or something on the Internet.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
What is she saying a lot of negative stuff about the RV and the currency? Oh, okay.
If you go to Dinar Recaps, you can click on the archive and look for anything concerning My Ladies. They'll have her name there, and you can read everything you want about her.
Oh, I don't need to if she's got a negative position, and I think that we all should avoid all the negative positions and just pay attention to the positives. That's my take on that. Anything negative is probably coming from the cabal and the shields and the trolls, so just ignore all that stuff.
There you
That's
go.
all. Thank you.
Well said.
Bye-bye.
High Point. Turn your speakers down. High Point, come on down.
Jerry.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, buddy?
Good.
Good to hear you.
Rednecking.
I got the we're about here in the redneck capital of the world here. I hugged 3 this morning.
Well, there you go. I hope they were happy.
They tickled to death. Got 2 quotes. One quote is the old saying, common sense isn't as common as it used to be. It's a true story. The second thing is a pastor friend of mine, friend in Canada, when Kuwaiti revalued, put $8 million in one box and $8 million in another box. So it's a true story.
Yeah, they didn't revalue. They just reinstated with new currency pre-invasion rates, and everybody made money because they bought low and sold high.
Yes, they did. And if I told you what he has invested in this one, he's going to need a lot bigger box. I'm not. Oh, I'm not.
Oh, all right.
But he's got inside connections and everything is go. Hang on. He said, we're just happy to be here.
Grab your bootstraps and pull upwards. Get ready.
Absolutely. So don't get all down and out because somebody opened their mouth and spit out a few ugly words. That's a little bit everywhere. But listen, Jerry, thank you for your time. I appreciate everything, and you fellas doing a great job.
Have a blue moon for me.
You got it. Thank you, sir.
All right. Clearwater, come on down.
Is that me?
Yeah.
Hello?
You.
Oh,
Hello?
okay. Yes, I'm in St. Pete. What I want, are we underneath the Federal Reserve yet? Because
as far as I know, they have not. There has been no
Monday's
announcement. Go ahead.
Okay, Monday's a holiday then.
This Monday's a holiday for us?
Yeah, I think it's Columbus Day, isn't it?
I don't know. I haven't looked.
Well, that's what my calendar says. Columbus Day
Okay.
and Thanksgiving for Canada.
Well, all righty then.
Canada. Yeah,
Anyway, your question, ma'am?
That was my question. I wanted to know about the holiday. If it's a holiday and the banks will be closed, that's what my question was.
I don't think it really matters at this point.
Well, I hope you're right.
All righty, thank you.
I certainly hope you're right. Thank you very much, and you have a great weekend.
You too. Los Gatos. Come on down. Los Gatos, come on down.
Hello?
Hello. Yes?
Oh, okay. My question, hi, thank you, is if the Z money is considered a bond, how can they remove the zeros?
Well, you're going to think that I'm shining you on here, but I'm going to give it to you straight. It's called the golden rule. He with gold makes the rules.
Okay.
At this point, we really won't know till we walk in the door, but I have heard that from some people that they did lop off 6 zeros and then paid them out accordingly on the $1 trillion notes. So when we get in there, that's when the rubber meets the road, and we can make a decision then.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. That was my one question.
You're welcome. Wingman, sum it up and then give us that famous last word. Wingman.
Had to unmute. Well, let's see. Gosh. There's a lot going on. There's a lot more that's going to go on. We're somewhere there in the mix, and it really is any moment. That's what I wanted to say before. Don't think about this thing anymore like the way Tony and DC put it out. That somebody's going to flip a switch. Okay, it's happening. It's a process. I don't think anybody really knows exactly where we are in that process, meaning when we will be in the banks in that process. But the process has begun, and that's very real. So rejoice in that, and just start planning for your future, because the future is here. And remember, even though you're going to the bank one of these days, it's not like you're going to walk out and start spending money. It's more complicated than that. You got to start thinking about how complicated it is and how you're going to manage your funds. So with that, I will say goodbye.
Thank you, everybody. And if there needs to be a call next Tuesday, of course you'll be notified. Thank you. Goodbye.
The conference is now completed. Goodbye.